Okay, hi everyone. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys confirm that you can hear me? Um, so our speaker is here on the call. Hi, Matheus.
Hi, everybody. Good to meet you.
Yeah, nice to have you on the call. 5 minutes early. A few people here. How you doing? How's your day been?
And maybe it's a good idea if I try to share my screen and see if you guys see everything okay before everybody joins. Shall we try
No
that?
problem. Yes, we can. Let me make you a co-host. Yep, that's good.
Yeah. Let me see if that will do the trick. Do you guys see a proper screen?
Yes, we can. We can see your desktop screen.
Okay, good. Yeah, we can leave it here or wait for everybody to come, but I think maybe we just leave it here and you guys give me the go when it's ready.
Okay. Your mic is a bit muffled. I don't know. It's not very clear now.
See?
Hello?
Hello, I'm testing all the
Yeah,
microphones.
Now
This
it's
is
better.
better?
This. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
very good.
I have a microphone up here,
Ah, okay, cool.
but I was connected with the headphone, so this one I think is better.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, I guess before we get started, how's your day been? By the way, how's your day been?
With me?
Yeah, how's it been?
Yeah, no, that's all good. This is the end of the day on a Friday, and
So you want to go
uh,
home early?
no, I'm actually home already, and but tomorrow I go on
Oh, you
holiday.
work
So
remotely?
yeah, I'm
Okay.
working. I was in the office, so came home, but tomorrow I go on holiday. So that's my last activity before the holidays.
Okay. This is nice. So you're ending it on a good note. Um,
Yes. And where are you guys?
and
Where are you guys based?
okay, so if you're in the chat, please could you also tell us where you're joining in from? I'm joining from Enugu, Nigeria.
Yeah.
There are people from all around the world. So you guys, could you tell us where you're coming in from in the chats? Let's see. Let's see. People. Okay. Yeah, we have some responses. So we have someone from Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. For the boot camp, majority of the people participating in the boot camp are from Ethiopia. Okay, yeah. So that's really cool. Let's see if we can get more people to join the call. Oh, Luxembourg. That's nice.
Luxembourg. Okay, not too far from me.
That's nice. More people are definitely going to join in. They usually join maybe 5 minutes into the call.
No worries, we
Um,
can wait and chat, or if you need to do
yeah,
the
yeah,
announcements, please just let me know. No worries.
yeah. So I want to find this is enough. I say off the session question. How did you start working with Langchain? How did that happen? I'm really curious to know.
Yeah, so it was not too long ago. I started to work with Langchain officially 3 months ago. And
Okay.
the reason why I did that is I work many years for a large company called Salesforce, which is famous
Hmm.
for having like a CRM platform, a customer engagement platform, and uh, in that company we used to do a lot of work with integration, connectivity, connecting different systems, and we use the Langchain open source in some of the things that we're doing with customers. And I really
Hmm.
like it, the Langchain framework and the whole idea of unify AI capabilities and company workflows. And I thought, hey, why not try to join Langchain itself? So in November last year, I contact the people in San Francisco and I started to have conversations. And now we open the what you call EMEA office. That's the area that I work for. And EMEA stands for Europe, Middle East, and Africa, where we
And
serve
Africa.
customers. Where we serve customers in the region from the Netherlands. So that's a
Oh,
long story short.
okay, okay, lovely, lovely. Thank you so much for that.
No
So we're
worries.
just going to give people exactly 5 minutes um before we get started. So please could you tell us where you're joining in from if you're just joining the call? In the chat, you could just tell us where you're joining in from. Um, so I think Matheus, I'll give you a little info about the bootcamp.
Yeah,
Um,
please.
so this is a lot. Let me start from the community. So I started this community when I was in university. Like I schooled in Nigeria and like a lot of my friends wanted to go into AI and okay, I was like, okay, let's start a community. And it was primarily like a small community for people in my university and it grew. We started getting more people to talk to us on a more consistent basis. And then we expanded. We got a few people from Kenya, a few people from South Africa, and I was like, okay, this could be more than Nigeria. Then the boot camp thing came up. We just wanted to do like a boot camp because we were passionate about teaching people about AI, and boot camp was like the next level. We wanted to do a very basic boot camp, and okay, Ivuka is on the call. He's the community lead right now. Ivuka, just say hi now.
Hi,
Yeah.
Matheus.
So
Hi there.
yeah.
Hi there.
So so we wanted to just a very basic account. We probably wanted to just keep it maybe about 100 people and we just let's just try. Let's aim for more. So we started to reach out to communities, collaborated more, and the numbers started to increase, just astronomically it was crazy. We didn't even expect it get to that high number. And even the speakers, we never wanted to have many speakers. We just wanted to be 3 people, handle the entire bootcamp plan. In like, okay,
Yeah.
let's reach out to this person. And people listen, people. I remember when I was sending the mail to Langchain, Ibuka was there. He said, Ibuka told me I was crazy. He told me I was crazy. He said it's impossible that he didn't even want, I did, he was meant to send the mail, but it was like, he's not going to bother. Langchain isn't going to reply. And I was like, fine, I'm going to take it. Worst is going to happen. I don't get replied. And you replied. And it's been exciting ever since because, we didn't plan to get here, honestly. We did not plan to get here now. And yeah, it's been an exciting journey. We have over 1,300 people participating from all across the globe, and we're offering value. And it's been tough. I will not lie to you. It's been really tough. There are days where you know, like, bruh, when is this going to end? There'll be days like that, but it's been exciting. It's been really, really fun. And yeah, once again,
Oh,
thank you for replying my mail because I didn't expect you to reply my mail.
no, absolutely not. Thanks for sharing your stories. It's very captivating, and something is only impossible until somebody goes and do it, right? So and then it's not
Yeah.
impossible anymore. And I think the no we already have, right? So you just need to try, and eventually you might get a yes. So and if not, you have already what the no you always have, right? You can always move into a better position and get a yes. So why not try? And no, happy to be part of this community to explain what we do. I prepare quite some nice slides to explain the company, and also how you guys can go further with the technology, especially because a big chunk of this is open source, and you can easily get
Mhm.
started. And I am a believer that AI is going to be transformational for everything in the way that we do, the way that we play, the way that we work, the way that we interact. It's also very scary for many people, but I think every time there is such a situation, it's also opportunity, and
Mhm.
and if people can level up their skills to provide value, it's a huge. So imagine the following: if all the AI tech that is available today is stop develop now, it will take like 10 or 15 years for people, companies, and institutions to absorb all of this, right? If everything stops now, and we know that things will not stop, we just get accelerated. So there is a huge opportunity for people
Mm.
to level up their skills and increase the productivity, and try to provide value to explain the ecosystems, how they can use AI. And it can be simple basic stuff, but it's a huge opportunity for everybody. So hopefully this serves as a bit of inspiration as well for the community.
Thank you so much. So it seems like we have about 34 people in, and I guess we're going to get started. So good evening, everyone. You're welcome to today's session. We have, sorry, can you all hear me? Can you all confirm that you can hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we can
Yes.
hear you.
Okay. Yes, so we have our keynote speaker, Matheus Hermsdorff. Please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. He's going to be speaking to us today. He's our keynote speaker, and he joined us from Amsterdam, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's talk. So Matheus, I guess, yeah, the floor is
The floor is
yours.
mine. Okay, so
Yes, it
thank you very
is.
much. Thank you very much. So good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being here. My name is Matheus Hermsdorff. I am part of the Langchain team in Europe. I'm responsible for the go-to-market distribution, community sales, and engagement with all the ecosystem partners, customers, wannabe customers, and etc. I'm part of this thing called GTM, Go to Market, and EMEA stands for Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and that's why we are talking here. So I have started my career at Langchain not too long ago, 3 months ago. Not too long, but it feels like 3 years. Everything in the whole AI world is relatively new. So if somebody says that you've been working for 5 years in that space, you should be a bit critical. Some people were, but most of the people were not. So this space is developing really quick. But I've been around here from since May this year. And what I would like to prepare here is a bit of presentation to act as a motivation, inspiration, and to provide some content and some actions as well to facilitate your continued learning. And I would like to start this presentation with a bit of story that building AI agents that can actually go out into the world and do things reliably. I mean, agents that can reason, pick up the right tools, handle things when they get messy. It still feels a little bit like magic when they actually work. Okay, so it is feels like a bit of crazy voodoo, and people don't fully understand how it happens to be. But let's be honest, trying to eventually, if you try to build some applications, when you try to debug them, when they do not work, that can feel less like software engineering and more like, I don't know, trying to chase cats in a dark room, right? When you're like blindfolded. and or for instance, or try to figure that out why your, let's say, incredible smart toaster suddenly thinks it's like a submarine, and in 1 minute they're doing like amazing things, but in the other minute you don't know, right? It's hallucinating. So that complexity that inherited from these characteristics of large language models called non-determinism, it's kind of the Wild West right now. And it really is, right? You build this amazing, powerful thing called LLM, but the second that it goes tiny bit off track, figure out what went wrong, it can be pretty tough. And tackle this specifically challenge, that's what Langchain is all about, right? So Langchain is about building what you call intelligent agents. They are everywhere, right? They are ubiquitous, right? And that's what we do here at Langchain. And to give you a perspective how we build those products, we're gonna have more details in these presentations. And basically the products that we build is exactly to fight, to wrestle this problem, right? We're gonna allow you to use our products to build agents that can handle complex tasks without going completely bananas and going crazy, right? So this is what we do as a company. And we have been doing this as a company with a lot of customers. We've been around since 2.5 years. We have pretty impressive numbers. So 75 million monthly downloads of the open source framework. That's including Langchain and LangGraph. We have more than 100,000 active users in the Langchain cloud, where customers they get access to our commercial cloud offering. We have 150 plus enterprise customers, and some of those customers that you see here are users of our technology. Okay? And for you, how you could get started, it's actually very simple, right? So if you go into smith.langchain.com, you're going to see exactly this web page. I can share this presentation later on, and the session is being recorded. I can try to also put here on the chat eventually later on, smith.langchain.com. You can sign up with your Gmail account or another account, and you can create a trial account, and you can go be happy and play with the tools, right? We allow you to have most of the functionalities in a developer environment sandbox, where you can play with some of the tooling that is available in our cloud. The other tip that I give to you for continuous learning, since this is all about learning, is to go to the academy.langchain.com. And the academy.langchain.com will provide you free training for products that we have, and it's pretty much self-paced, which means that you can access whenever you feel like, whenever you have energy and stamina to continue the training. Okay, so that's how you can get started. And how it all started, how it all began, that was around November, December 2022. Those two gentlemen, Harrison Chase and Ankush Gola, they commit the first line of code in GitHub for Langchain. So Langchain was open, or it is still an open source framework that allow developers to build what you call context-aware applications that can do some reasoning. Okay? And Langchain provides a set of abstractions for you to work with LLMs, to work with vector database, to have tool calling, to have prompt management, load documents, and etc. So it facilitates the integration between the new world and they help you to bring into the traditional world, how to bring the AI capabilities into the normal workflows of your process, your applications, your companies. Okay, so that's how it started back in the days. And every company since then wants to be AI first and try to get there. It's actually hard, right? And that's why we need people like you that are trained, that can actually help corporations to eventually get started, right? But get there is a little bit hard because building agents can be tough, right? They have unreliable results. Experimentation paralysis. There is a lot of tools out there, It's a lot of, let's say, systems, applications, open source frameworks, and vendors. So people can be a bit of in this analysis paralysis, where they do not know where they should start. A lot of companies, they build into silos, right? Everybody does its own. And there is a huge lack of know-how across the globe, right? In every single continent. And again, I think that's the opportunity here for you, is to differentiate yourself, learn something that is truly important for the foresee future. Okay. And so there's a whole bunch of challenges in building those AI applications. And our mission today, like I mentioned, is to explain how we do, to unpack the core pieces of the Langchain offering, talk about Langgraph, Langchain, Langsmith, the Langgraph platform. There's a whole bunch of names here. But we want you to understand how this whole ecosystems is helping developers to build, test, debug, and eventually deploy those mission critical, complex, stateful AI agents, right? So it's about understanding the key tools for very serious agents development. It's straight from the company who, at least I believe, was one of the first innovators in that space, right? So see this as a kind of roadmap, perhaps for moving from those cool but maybe a little bit of brittle agent experimentations for something that you can actually put in production if you happen to be already working with your corporation, your enterprise, to build something that's perhaps customer facing, that is solving a real business problems, right? And you can use this tool to build a really reliable agent when you have these skill sets. Okay? And when you talk about the Langchain, you have different names. We're gonna keep on going to talk about them. But no, important to mention, there's Langchain, Langgraph, Langsmith, Langgraph platform. Those are the products that we see as part of the offering. And I think the important things to perhaps differentiate is by making a distinction between chains and graphs. Okay, so most people's first LLM applications are probably what we call chains. On the left side, right, you got the chain, so it's like a sequence of steps. So it's often things like RAG, right, retrieval augmented generation, or tasks that follows a very predictable sequence of steps where the developer or the engineer can build that and define that themselves. On the right side, you see graphs, right? So these are designed for those really complex, truly agentic applications. So a chain has a pretty fixed structure. The steps are sequentials. The developer maps them out, and the developer knows what to do. And it's just like step one, step two, a sequence of steps, right? It's like a workflow, just like a train on a simple track, right? You just go forward along a predefined route. There's no switching of tracks on the fly. And technically, these structures are called directly psychographs or DAG, right? Think of like a flow chart where the arrows point always in the one direction, and you cannot easily loop back and go sideways as things happen, right? And because it's fixed, it tends to be very deterministic, so it's very easy to debug. So it's like when you have a bug on a normal application, you might not find where the bug is, but if you put the same variables as an input, you're gonna get the same thing as an output, right? Because it's very deterministic. Same input, pretty much expect the same thing. It's consistent. So, and the stateful is pretty limited as well, right? Maybe some context passes along, but it's not really built for remember a whole long conversation on complex states. So you get very reliability and it's more predictable, but you sacrifice flexibility. And if your task is straightforward or linear, go ahead. And when you do that, you're gonna probably play a lot with Langchain as the open source framework. You'll probably be more than good enough to just stay with Langchain as the open source framework. But then we have graphs, right? This is where things get really more complicated and interesting, and you need different tooling. And with graphs, the structure is always more flexible. The control flow is variable, and here's the key. It's often defined not by you, the developer, but by the LLM itself. So the LLM itself is making decisions about where to go next in the flow. It's think about like a GPS in navigating a chaotic city traffic, right? The agent has to decide on the moment based on the user request in the current situation. Do I do a search? Do I do do I get the answer? Do I call API? Do I do a tool calling? It's not following a predetermined script. It's improvised based on rules and the context that is getting on the fly. So this is what we call more graphs. And if you are um, gravitating to that, you're probably gonna have some difficulties to accept the level of non-deterministic in there, right? And to solve that, we built this thing called LangGraph, which is also an open source framework that allows you to build very flexible agentic experience using this type of architecture called React, Reasonably and Act, where you combine some of the reliability that we have from traditional chains, right? And this is what LangGraph is about for those that start to use that. So then you see the two open source products that we have. So Langchain, the same name as the company Langchain, and LangGraph, right? So again, the Langchain mainly used for integration, building simple chains. LangGraph is also the open source, specifically designed for building these complex, stateful, but pretty crucial, reliable agents, right? It's about putting some guardrails, some structures around that potentially chaotic graphic execution. So again, those two things are open source. You're free to play around, no strings attachment. If you know Python, if you know JavaScript or actually TypeScript, you can just download the libraries and go be happy. Okay. I am not monitoring the chat. Happy to take some questions later on eventually, but I will continue my monologue here for the time being.
Sure,
So
sure.
yeah, okay, good. And let me know if we need some pause or something, but I cannot fully see the chat, so I just see the screen.
Oh, okay. Okay, we are about 60 people here. So I just want to put, if you have a question, please put it in the Q&A. Matheus would love to answer them. Thank you.
Yeah, that's better. That's better. Let's put on the Q&A and then we can check those things later on, because I will have some time before the end. But so this is a picture of what we call the agentic developer lifecycle, and that's when what we call the whisper arrive, right? And that's where testing and evaluation comes into the picture. So if LangGraphs helps you to build the agentic structure, Langsmith is designed to help you understand how the structure is actually executing, and what is it doing, or if it's doing what you're supposed to do, right? Because like I said, this type of applications are non-deterministic, so debugging those things are traditionally hard. We have had software observability, monitoring, log analysis. We have had that in the past, right? But they were never meant to monitor undeterministic structure. And debug LLM applications, especially agents, it's just tough when you do not have the right tools, right? The execution trace are simple logs in the code. You got prompt, generated text, tool calling, maybe image, audio involved. And when the non-deterministic element that we mentioned before, how do you trace something that might take a different path every single time? So it's like debug a dream that you probably had earlier, right? It's really hard. You cannot trust on that. So Langsmith, which is a commercial product that we sell when we have a commercial relationship with customers, Langsmith provides the data-driven approach to help test and observe things that are moving in that way, right? So you're gonna check if your agents is working the way they're actually using that you expected, right? And despite the fact that Langsmith is a commercial product, you can usually start with a very cost effective, right? If you are a developer, if you are a startup, you can pay a very low amount per month per developer seat to just get started, or even get started with one of the free plans that you get your account and you get your trial account and you get your org and you can go and test it, right? So Langsmith is the very first product that we launched as a commercial product, and that's the product that allows you to do observability and what you call evals. Okay, so Langchain agents platforms allow predominantly, we have tools predominantly for engineering teams, right? For developers, we build tools to help platform teams, engineers teams, developer teams. So that's our predominant target environment, right? So we help you to develop faster, we help you to ship agents in a more reliable way, and you help you build agentic experience that gain trust and confidence for the business. And with that, what we mean to tackle is that situation that before we have unreliable agents, but now we have visibility to the root cause and a playbook to test agents' behavior, right? A proper framework. When we have analysis paralysis, now we have a way to continuous evaluate and improve your agents, right? And Langsmith also acts as a collaboration platform where not only developers and engineers they work with, but also subject matter experts, product owners, product managers, the business, they will see the development of the agents and they will improve that agents and they create new versions and you're going to deploy that. And hopefully you're going to pave the path to more, let's say, robust interactions and to build more and more agents, right? So what we aim to do is to provide really a unified platform that has the purpose to help teams to build with AI. And when you do that, customers typically have like a different flavors or use case, right? And there are like a few, let's say, real world use cases. What you see here is 6 buckets with different customers using our technology in those buckets. And there are quite a few what you call co-pilots, and those places like LinkedIn, Uber, GitLab, AI search applications that enterprises use like internal chat systems and knowledge base, investment research, customer support. So there are a few of those use cases. And like I said, you start to build that predominantly with the open source, but when you put something in production, you need to actually use, monitor, evaluate, and observability to do that. Okay, so those are some of the buckets, some of the customers that you can see. And if you go online, you see tons of videos on YouTube. There are videos with customers using our stack. They explain what they do. I can eventually share those links later on. And the whole idea here is to help everybody build with the OSS frameworks. OSS stands for Open Source Framework. So basically everything on the left side, Langchain and LangGraph. If you go further on this part of the tooling, we're going to get Langchain. We spoke about it. Langchain has the same name as the company, but also we have LangGraph that's mainly used for building integrations and simple chains. They are not mandatory. You can, for instance, build agents with any technology or framework that you want, and you can ship those traces, as we call, to the Langsmith platform for monitoring, right? So we are very non-opinionated. That means that you could use Langchain, LangGraph, Langsmith, or you can just use Langsmith and not using the frameworks. You could also just use the frameworks and not use Langsmith. So there is no strings attached in that regard, right? But LangGraph is really perhaps the most important open source framework that you should consider to use if you're building these complex stateful agents, right? It's about putting the guardrails, the structures around that's potentially chaotic graph execution. like again, trying to give a race car person a smart, let's say, co-driver, co-pilot, to add some traffic cones along the way, extra guidance and light along the circuit that can guide that pilot to drive better, right? And one of the first features people really like at Landgraf is the ability to guide, moderate, and control agents with what we call human in the loop. And that makes immediately sense, right? If you think about agents are also trying to mimic the behavior of a human being. If the task is sensitive and if the agent just gets stuck or is unsure, having a human, like a real human in the loop, in the step is pretty critical. And it can be that, it can make or break the response of the agents, right? The cool demo can actually get shipped into production, meaning that if some of the steps is something that the agent itself is not sure if it should go, they can delegate to a human, and the human in the loop can actually take actions, right? So again, it's like a co-pilot need to grab the control for a tricky landing on an airplane, or when we have unexpected turbulence. You want the autopilot to do most of the things. The agent is flying most of the time, but you need that manual intervention override capability, right? And another key aspect of building very expressive, customizable workflows, Landgraf provides a very low-level set of building blocks, what we call the primitives. It's not a prepackaged. It's not like prepackaged sentences. It's like getting you all the raw words, so you can build whatever sentence structure you need. Right? It's almost providing you like the letters of the alphabet. So it gives you more control. Obviously, you need more responsibility. There's a sharp learning curve in Landgraf, but allows you to have full control, right? So simple agents, multi-agent systems, talking to each other, hierarchies, you can write the whole book, the whole poetry about it, right? It's about having full control. And that's the idea, right? It gives you the flexibility to design exactly agents architecture that the problem require. It's not pre-fit into a standard box. And it also gives the possibility for those graphs to be statefulness. And so Landgraf is built from the ground up to persist context for what we call long-term interactions. And that's when things like short-term memory, long-term memory, story, conversations, history, that's when it comes into place. So your agents will not suffer from amnesia because you forgot the previous interactions. And there's things like fault tolerance. For instance, what if a step fails? The agent knows its a state right before the failure, so it can actually go back to the same place that was before. And for the user experience side, they have things like streaming, right? You get real-time token by token output. So you see those things when you have a chat interaction, you see the words being autocomplete, and that's what you call a stream. So it's nicer for the user experience because, yeah, if you have nothing, you don't know if it's thinking or deep thinking or doing some reasoning for 5 minutes, and then you don't know if the whole thing is broken or not. So it's you have to have those subtitles like watching somebody speaking and provide that, and that we call that streaming, right? And that helps manage user expectations. Again, especially when your agency is doing something really complex. And the final, what I call value proposition of Landgraf is that it allows you to focus on the app, on the application logic, not the infrastructure, not all the plumbing underneath. The idea is that Landgraf handles the tricky bits like API integration, scalability concerns, manage the streaming, all the plumbing. So it's like if you build a house, right, you want to focus your energy maybe on the decoration of the house, not necessarily on the sewer systems, on the pipes and everything underneath. And that's what the Landgraf allows you to have. And the last part here on the open source part is this thing called the Open Agents Platform, which is a relatively new product, which allows more non-developers to be part of the ecosystem. So if you do not have Python skills or JavaScript skills, you can start with that. Allows you to onboard easily and build simple RAG applications, agentic applications with drag and drop high level. Okay. So this is more on the open source. What we have next is the more commercial things. So let's walk through the features. It's basically, again, test, run, and manage. Let's click one by one, and then you can get a feeling visual of how it looks like. This is what we call the playground. This sounds like pretty neat because it is from within any trace. And a trace is basically an execution of one particular chat interactions that you have with the agents, right? So from within that trace, you can jump into an interactive environment. You grab the prompt at the state, at the point in time of the trace, and you can start changing it, right? So we can tweak the prompt. You can try a different LLM, maybe adjust some parameters, and see the results is right there, right? You can compare different versions side by side. It's like having the possibility to lab a bench attached to every step of your agent execution. So you can quickly test potential fix without having to redeploy the whole agent. So just for prototyping things and test and adjust on the fly. So this is what you call playground. Next week we have things like for debug and iterate agent runs. So LangGraph Studio is this visual representations that allows you to see how the agents is actually visualized. So you see here a supervised agents with sub agents 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have the visual representation of that graph that allows you to see the execution of that as it runs. Okay. Further than that, we have this concept of evals, which measures the quality during or after the execution. So you can put different types of evaluations, and a typical funky evaluation that we have is this thing called LLM as a judge, where there is another LLM evaluating the response of a previous LLM. So you have things like human feedback and etc. So this is all about improving the quality of the agents that we have built. So next to that, you have the ability to run. So in the platform, we have this one-click deployment that you can put agents in production. You can scale that. You can create different access control. You create what we call LangGraph server that have an API wrapper around it that allows you to interact with it programmatically. And then going further towards the manage, we have the observability into the agents. So it's pretty foundational. So it's like the X-ray vision of what your agents did. So it's a step-by-step. You see which nodes in your graph is executed, what prompts were used, what came back from each of LLM calls, which tools were called, what tools results were there. So if my agent does try to, let's say, order a pizza instead of booking a flight, you can see exactly the sequence of steps and the internal state, the prompt that led to that confusion, the specific tool call that has been made, and the response from that tool. So the whole chain of events that led to that decision that perhaps was not what you intended, right? So it helps you demystify a little bit work with LLMs because you can fine-tune those elements. So this is pretty much the core feature of Langsmith. And the last but not least, you have this agent management across the organization. So if you get into the stage where we have not one or two agents, but you have like 50 or 100, you need some sort of platform services underneath to allow you to discover, share, and reuse agents across the different teams. You should be able to configure those agents as you change and update them. And you get a centralized overview with a register of those agents. Things like a big library that you can walk in and you can see, hey, these are all the books that I have. This is the catalog separated by different types and etc. Okay, so this is a little bit of the story that I would like to tell you. what I could do next is to tell just one customer story from one customer and explain what they did and how they did. And then we can stop and see if you guys have some energy for some Q&A and etc. So if that's okay, let me walk you through the story about a company called Cisco. So I think most of the people know Cisco. Cisco is a hardware company, network switch infrastructure, and Cisco is transforming what they call the customer experience using AI, and they use the technology from Langchain, right? So this guy here is a fellow Brazilian that I know. I'm also originally from Brazil. His name is Carlos Pereira. He's a chief architect at Cisco, and he led a major initiative to really modernize how Cisco serve their own customers uh, across adoption, renewals, and support. And the challenge is that they have a lot of tools, right? They have this, what they call actually in their own words, the zoo of tools. So it's over 50 data sets just for renewal contracts. And traditional machine learning alone wasn't enough. LLMs brought powerful language capabilities, but Cisco needs a structured, scalable way to combine both, right? And um, and this is what they call the concept of agentic CX or customer experience using multi-agent systems to deliver more personalized, predictive customer experience. And they built a tech stack flexible enough to run both on-premise in the cloud. The architecture is like with top models, right, for the LLMs, but all orchestrated with LangGraph and deployed with the LangGraph platform, right? So the LangGraph enable, just like we spoke before, complex multi-agents coordination where agents pass tasks from one to another for situations where they have no critical enterprise production environments. And so using this platform, they managed to having pretty amazing results. If you work for a company or if you be working for a company in the near future, you see that some quite often management, they want to see results. They want to see the return of the investments. They want to understand the total cost of that particular investment, and they will measure things that you build by using numbers, right? And in the case of Cisco, they cut the time spent on doing renewals by 20%. And that's quite significant, right? When you talk about a big business, if you can reduce the time that people spend by 20%, this 20% they allow those people to do something else on a scale from Cisco, which in this particular case they have 20,000 people work only for this division. That's real money, right? And that's how you can measure your own success as well. And hopefully this is something that inspires you to continue to work with Langchain. That's pretty much the end of my presentation.
All right. Thank you, Matheus. All right, Matheus, thank you so much for that. We really appreciate. We have a question in QA,
Yeah.
and so the question says, could you mention a use case or two use cases in which both the chain and the graph tools were used and how they were integrated to optimize a workflow that wasn't as reliable only as a Langchain or only as a LangGraph workflow?
Yeah, so there are quite a few customers using the combination of LangGraph and Langchain. So I think the easiest way to think is that Langchain still has a library for integrations. So when you need to connect with a particular LLM, so for instance, OpenAI is perhaps the most popular large language model out there. And to access OpenAI, you use the API from OpenAI. And a huge amount of the traffic from OpenAI is accessible via abstraction from Langchain, one of the integrations from Langchain. So you put something in front of the OpenAI API that will abstract the complex of that, handle the authentication, authorization, the failover. So this is the little building block. So see Langchain today and mainly provide the integrations for you to access systems, to do tool call, to access a vector database, to call LLM. And you see LangGraph on the top of that, providing the orchestration of all of this. Again, it's totally up to you if you use both or not, but you can.
All right. Let me see. So there is another question that says, what are some effective techniques for creating reliable long-term memory in Langchain or LangGraph that you've come across?
Oh, that is something that let me see if I find something on the fly for you and put on the screen.
Okay.
Give me a minute because I'm gonna check that for you right now, and then we can guide that. Yes, I found it. So let me share this link with you. I'm gonna put on the chat, Maina. Let me see, where is the chat? I had the chat in front of me, but now it disappeared. I found it. Okay. So what I suggest to you, Maina, is to go to this link. And this link explains how to use this new thing that we call Langman that helps you create those interactions, right? It has all the different core concepts. They have how-to guides to manage the different types of memory, semantic memory, long-term memory, short-term memory. And I think you can use that to, I can put on the screen as well for the other people to see. Let me see this one. Yes. So this is the link that I share on the chat. So it has quite some of the important concepts that we should know about memory, the type of memory, the different patterns, and I think you could have enough fun by look at here.
All right. I think that's all we have from the charts. A bit of back story about the bootcamp so far. So the first 3 weeks we've gone through the naive rag part, and yesterday was our last lecture in the naive rag part, and we built like a very basic naive rag using Langchain, Runnables, Grok, and ChromaDB. So one of the questions we had yesterday, what people asking about things like, how do I know the tokens that have been spent? How do I know how much of my credits is running out and all of that? And we told them that that's where the advanced rack part comes into. That's where Langsmith comes into play. And so I'm trying to let you know that this presentation you did, it kind of like gave us an overview of what to expect, because we've done the naive part. The next part is to move into the advanced stuff, adding other things like queries. We talked about history as well yesterday. That was something we talked about. Memory. That we saw that our naive rag, it can't remember the questions we asked it, and how are we going to be able to mitigate all of that? So yeah, thank you so much, Matheus. I mean, I feel like your keynotes came in at the perfect time. It came in at the perfect, yeah, because yesterday we just covered naive rag, and your keynotes covered everything that we said. We are going to be moving, we're going to be discussing, and we're going to be learning, moving on into the last three weeks of the bootcamp, which is the advanced part. So thank you so much, Matheus. We are really grateful. I can see one more question in the chat. It's from Nathaniel. He says, how does Langchain manage token usage and cost across chained calls?
Yeah, I can show something to you guys. Maybe it's easier to show than actually to talk. Since we have a few minutes, let me go here and share my screen again.
Okay.
So Smith. So let me show you a very quick demo. Let me actually do this. This is also something interesting for you. Chat.langchain.com. So it's basically a chat bot that we build ourselves that can actually allow you to ask questions. And let me try to get the same question that you asked on the Q&A. And instead of me answer that, let's just using technology, right? So how does Langchain manage token users across chain calls? So so instead of having myself to answer that, which eventually I would not know the answer, or maybe I would know, I don't know. I'm just doing a demo here to using chat.langchain.com, right? And whatever the answer is coming, you see the streaming happening now. If you agree with the answer or not, that's not actually the point. The point is that I would like to do a demo of how this is implemented behind the scenes. And in that demo, I think I will actually answer your question. So if you go to smith.langchain.com, that's the place that, by the way, you can just sign up and create your account. Obviously, I have mine, and I'm gonna log in with my own Langchain account. And when I do this, I access what you call Langsmith, my cockpit, right? There's a lot of things in this screen here. You can click into a lot of places, but the long story short, that you end up in a particular organization. That organization has a workspace, and that workspace will have a particular project. The project that takes care of that chat is chat-langchain v3. So when I click here, I see all the different traces from that particular chat. And you see that there's a lot of questions here. And the last one is still being executed. Somebody says, I want to learn Langchain. Not sure if it was one of you guys. But that's the last one. And you can see this is still being executed. But the one before is the question that I asked, right? How does Langchain manage token usage? And when I click here, I can actually see the entire trace from end to end of what has been done in that agent that has been developed. So here is a what I call a waterfall sequence of steps of everything that the graph actually has built, right? So what you see here is that the agency has some LLM calls. The LLM calls you see on orange. It's using chat OpenAI, and there's calling the LLM multiple times. In pink, you see a vector storage. I think this is probably access our documentation repository. And but this is the full interaction, right? And what you see here on the previous step is that you have the statistics about to help customers to manage token usage and control costs across different projects. So what you see here is in this particular screen that we have, you have the number of the statistics that you see here. That you see like the number of tokens that has been used, the price of different tokens, and you can see that in this entire project I have used a total of 191 million tokens, and has a cost of about $85. So these are the things that you can use to manage a cost. Obviously, this does more for you, right? So for instance, you could go into run this graph in Studio, and then you see actually representation of that graph. So you can click on that graph, expand the different queries. You can interact with that graph at a particular one point in time. You can, change the prompts and so on. But let me pause for now. But just to answer your questions, we can manage the cost of those tokens in this platform as well. Hopefully this little demo, ad hoc demo, helps you.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll be having a lecture from another engineer from Langchain next week, and he'll be covering things on monitoring. And so I'm sure that we're still going to learn more. Yeah. So to everyone thank you so much for joining in. Matheus, thank you so much. Thank you for
Thanks for
replying our
listening.
emails. Thank you to the team at Langchain. We are really grateful for gracing our bootcamp. Yeah, and yeah, that would be all. And thank you guys. We'll be sending out the team tags in your emails as well as Matheus' slides and the link to the recording on our YouTube channels. So thank you all. See you tomorrow. We also have a paper talk from the VP of an AI company, from Vice President of an AI company tomorrow. So see you guys tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. West African time. And yeah, have a great day. Matheus, have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.